that there's a lot of merit to it. There's a lot of opportunity. It is a great store, and this is where you can debate. Is it a good store?
But you know how it's made. A bunch of computers figure out
But
math
there's
problems.
but the issue is if people believe that it can be an asset that can be cross-border. Right. And let's be clear, if you're in a country where you're fearful of your government, and maybe this is one of the reasons why China has banned it. Mm-hmm. If you're in a government where if you're in a country where you're fearful of your future, fearful of your government, or you're frightened that your government is devaluing its currency by too much deficits.
Like us.
I'm not going to go there.
Go the little elephant in the room here.
Yeah. You could say this is a great potential long-term store of value. And as I said, it's like digital gold. As I said, it's like digital gold.
Arguably the most powerful man in the world that not too many people know about, Larry Fink, just called Bitcoin digital gold. What is up, beautiful people all around Elohim's green earth? I hope that you're having a blessed day, and I greatly appreciate you for clicking on this video. It is clear that our financial system is in need of a revamping, and this revamping is moving towards this new financial system, a quantum financial system that is going to utilize blockchain technology for the movement of money all around the globe. We heard Larry Fink just call Bitcoin digital gold. And this is massive. Throughout this year, we have seen many events in the financial sector that are leading towards this new financial system being implemented. What are you talking about, Elijah? Well, we see Bitcoin ETF approvals being approved. And BlackRock's got approved. And many other major financial institutions that have trillions of dollars in assets under management. So what is going to happen when, let's say, Larry Fink tells people, you need to start allocating 5% of your portfolio to Bitcoin or towards a Bitcoin ETF that has multiple cryptocurrencies in it? What's going to happen to the space? Well, it's going to grow. And it is going to grow exponentially. Because it's not just BlackRock. It's Fidelity. It's Invesco. It's major financial institutions with trillions of dollars in assets under management that are moving towards this new financial system. It's happening right before our eyes. And in this video, we're going to talk about, you're going to see a billionaire mention the potential growth that is coming to the cryptocurrency space. And please note that none of this information is considered financial advice. So I'm sure you were aware of all the hype that was going around in April with the Bitcoin halving. And now that it's over with, it seems that the Bitcoin halving has not been as hyped and people just aren't excited about crypto. Well, let me tell you, right now is not the time to not focus on the future of finance. We're seeing these Bitcoin ETFs start to slowly transition us into this new financial system. But we are still in the early adopter stage. It has not become mainstream. Crypto has not become mainstream yet. But I do believe that these Bitcoin ETFs are going to start making it all the more mainstream. And before we get there, that means that there's opportunity to get into some great entry-level positions. I want to share this video from a billionaire investor who knows a lot about this digital currency space. And what he has to say, what his team has put together with the future of cryptocurrency and predominantly Bitcoin over an 18-month time frame. Let's check this out.
You should really look at the pattern of Bitcoin after a halving. So here's a little Bitcoin price analysis for you guys. So there's been a couple of halving cycles that have happened. And I asked him to go back and look at the price performance 1 month after a halving, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and 18 months after a halving. And what you notice is that there are these moments initially where essentially when you go through a Bitcoin halving, people are sort of reassessing what's happening and they're trying to figure it out. That's sort of what I would say happens in the first month and roughly what also happens in the first 3 months. But then within 6 months to a year and 18 months of these things, there are these crazy price appreciation cycles that happen. So that's what this page shows, which is, 18 months after the first halving, the Bitcoin price returned 45x. After the second halving, it returned almost 28x. And after this third halving, it returned almost an 8x, which is really incredible returns in such a short period of time. If you go to the next page.
Pause right
and so
there.
if
We see not many gains happen in the first 1 to 6 months of these Bitcoin halving cycles. April was 3 months ago. We're at the end of June. So what does that tell us? That tells me that there is opportunity to get in before the gains really start happening. And just so you know, I have a very long-term perspective on my investment strategy. And I'll encourage other people to do the same. When you just look at it short-term, you can miss a quick little bull run and then it goes down back there. But when you are long-term, you are able to take yourself and your emotions out of the process of investing in what is considered a volatile market. Let's get back into the video.
Go to the next page. And so if you graph that, this is what it starts to show, which is what is this price performance after each of these halving cycles. Now, why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because on top of this halving, which theoretically, if history is a guide, we should see some price appreciation. Obviously, the other thing that's happened is we've commercialized Bitcoin. And we talked about this sort of as my big prediction for 2024, which is these ETFs are really going to allow Bitcoin to cross the chasm and have its sort of central key moment, right? And so if you apply the averages, and again, these are just averages, they're by no means predictions. Okay, so I just want to qualify that.
Yeah,
These are
this
just
is not financial advice.
It's not financial advice. These are just guesses.
data.
We took these and we applied it to the price of Bitcoin. And if you go to the next page, you start to see what could happen if you just take the average of the last few cycles. So because the first cycle was so extreme, and you start to
so you're just doing cycle 2 and 3 here, to be clear.
just the averages of cycle 2 and 3. And what you start to see is some really meaningful appreciation. And when I talked to Wences about this, how he explained it, which makes a lot of sense to me, is there are a lot of countries that will never look at Bitcoin credibly, even if they support it. The US may be one of those, but there's an increasing body of countries that will become dual currency. And they will look at their local currency, and then they will look at Bitcoin. And they will say both of these two things are needed. One, when you're transacting on a daily basis for random goods and services. And two, when you need to buy a permanent asset that needs to have residual value, you'll use something like BTC. And I think that's a very powerful concept. And if you look at what this price chart could indicate, is that if this thing starts to get to these levels of appreciation, it is going to completely replace gold and start to become something that has transactional utility for hard assets. And I think if you marry that with this worry that some folks have about dollar debasement, you start to see some really interesting opportunities.
Transactional utility. And we see Chamath mention replacing gold. Now, Larry Fink mentioned Bitcoin being digital gold. What's the correlation here? As we're moving towards this new financial system, everything is increasingly going to become more and more digital. I still believe that there are assets that retain their store value that are not digital in nature that are going to be extremely valuable in this new financial system. But when you want to operate in this new financial system, you're going to want to have assets that are digital and not based in a fiat currency, so to say. Very important. We're seeing governments move towards central bank digital currencies, but us as consumers can start to prepare for this shift now, right now. So in conclusion, there is still time to invest in Bitcoin. Yes, it's above 60,000, but that does not mean that it's just going to stay there. It's going to have a lot of utility and value. Certain cryptocurrencies are. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is not going to be the top dog come 2030. But it's still going to have value. And there are other cryptocurrencies that we talk about here on the Moneypot channel. Go check out some of that past content that are going to retain their store value and be extremely useful as we move towards this new financial system. Make sure you go check out some of the content we have on the Moneypot channel as you're looking to learn more about world economics and events, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and much, much more. But regardless of what you do, make sure that you stay blessed, stay healthy, stay prayed up. Peace.